Hi, Indraani. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you with us at Advaita Katha.
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me over here.
Our pleasure. And before we start our conversation and take it any further, I have my colleague Captain Amit Singh as well with me. Advaita Katha is somewhat of his brainchild, and I would request him to share a bit about Advaita Katha before I introduce myself and Indraani to you. Amit, over to you. Amit, can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Capt Indrani, for attending. And the basic purpose of this concept of Advaita Katha is to learn from your experiences through stories, narration of stories. So the objective is at the end of the Katha, we should be able to gain some insight into what you have experienced and how can it solve our challenges that we face and the next generation faces. So some sort of a connect, because you've been through the whole thing and you have done a lot of work in aviation and as a social worker for the underprivileged. So my background in training and safety has taught me something about experiential learning. Experiential learning is basically the culmination when somebody experiences. There's something called as surface learning. When we read something, it is surface learning. But once we experience, that is permanent learning or a long-term learning. So once we hear from you, and then we see the challenges in life, and then when we connect both the things, that makes more sense rather than reading books and all. So interacting will also help solve our questions and questions of those who are attending. So that is the basic intention and the objective. And thank you again, and over to Amita.
Thanks, Amit. So before I introduce Indraani, I'll very quickly share a very small bit about myself. My name is Amita Nicodemus, and I am really proud to be here at Advaita Katha, speaking with Indraani, who's done and achieved so much in her life. And I have been a trained pilot from Igruva. I earned my CPL from there. I did my PPL from Bhopal Flying Club. And post that, I got into corporate, did not continue flying due to some personal reasons. Currently, I am, after about 18 years of corporate life, I'm currently a life coach and a behavioral trainer. Now moving to Indraani, requesting everybody please be on mute. Moving to Indraani, so she started flying with Indian Airlines in 1987, but much before that, she started gliding with NCC. And then 1990, after 1987, being on Boeing 737s, 1995, she was the first woman commander in the world on Airbus 300s. So, that's a huge thing, that somebody from between us from India achieved something like that at the world level. And the amazing part about her, which I really am very inspired by, is that this is not all. Along with a very demanding career in aviation, she has very successfully and for about 25 years been in leading social initiatives in literacy, in women empowerment, employability, and environment, something that she called as the 4 E's: education, empowerment, employability, and environment. So that's really amazing. Now, if that was not enough, she's been married all these years to another pilot. So that's how demanding it gets. And now her son as well is a pilot. So I don't know how you managed and balanced that aircraft of life, Indraani. It's a struggle, you know. So 8 lakh women, as I understood, children and youth have benefited in different parts of the country through the social initiatives. And this is a figure from 2022. She also runs an enterprise called Indha. And there's so much more. I will not be able to, then the whole podcast will probably become like a monologue where I'm just talking about Indraani. There are multiple awards and recognition that she's rightly got. Some of them I'll call out. Godfrey Phillips Special Award for Bravery in Social Cause, Limca Book of Records, of course, for being the first woman commander on Airbus 300s. Prestigious Bana Shah Award by Rajasthan government 2018 and 19, 2021 India Achievers Award, and there are many more, so I'm not calling out all, okay guys. 2022 Radio City Icon Awards. She's been to the Rashtrapati Bhavan with her group of students, and they have had the privilege to perform there and spend time with the president, and we'll speak to her about it if we get a chance. But mostly today is about her journey and stint in aviation. So, Indraani, I'll first start with asking you, 1980s, choosing a career like aviation, I don't think many women as such really considered or knew about it, that it's an option. So how did that come about for you?
Yeah, 1980s, it was new for everybody. If we go back and we think about it, which I generally don't think, I'm always in the present. During that point of time, a girl called Indraani Singh, born of a family wherein mom and dad were tough lot with, tough personality. They both were very individualistic in their own opinion about the world and how independent they should be. So those are the bringing up actually. And my father always was a bit of a romantic person and believed in heroism and all these things, maybe too much of movie watching, but the good things happen if we have parents. The parents, they inspire us. Parents' personality, they inspire us. So that is the first thing a child is exposed to. I can't go back so far back into the 80s, but yes, it was one of those things. I am like any other kid, with some dreams, some aspiration. I'm going to be something. I am so good at it. And those days, any kid who could ride a bicycle would think that can ride a bike or a scooter. My mind always one step ahead as to what all I could learn. So curiosity is something which I always have had, even now I have. So what better I could do in every phase of my life. So in 80s, it was one of the very new thing,
Mm-hmm.
Flying में इतने लोग नहीं थे. I mean, people were not, even for the men folks also, flying was something new, not just for the women. And obviously it was a men's bastion. In fact, men were there already, and they are doing the flying part. One didn't even think that, but I felt that if I could get into gliding, wherein I was taken out for a gliding lesson before my time. So I always felt that, sit down and talk to my squadron leader that, मेरे को gliding करनी है. So he would say, अरे बच्चे तुम तो अभी छोटे हो, अभी तुमको 2 साल यहाँ पे marching करना होगा. You will have to, become better in aero modeling and become a very good cadet, then only you can touch the glider. But I was so keen. Every day I would turn up at the hangars and say कि भाई मुझे gliding करनी है. And one fine day he gave in and took me for a gliding sortie, and wherein it was one of those things कि any kind of an aerobatics possible he did in that general flying of glider. And when he landed back and he saw I vomited or not. So, so I didn't vomit, and I was flushed with excitement in it. And then he asked me, "You want to fly?" I said, "Yes, sir, I want to fly." So that was my experience of flying per se, and in gliding, if that is the exposure one could have, without the engines and without you're just being pulled into the air. And NCC was the exposure, and NCC changed my life. It gave me a discipline, it gave me an outlook, it gave me an exposure about India. In India, we don't know what India is all about. As a kid, you may be knowing which state or which gully, which district you are from, but you don't know anything about India. And in joining NCC, I met length and breadth of the cadets coming across from different parts of the country. Very good in flying, very good in aero modeling, very good cadets, and made me think about myself. Am I any good? Am I any good like them? Do I have it in me or not? So these are the things which actually led to change within me, and I wanted to bring in those kind of habits within me, wherein I'm far more disciplined and organized in my life.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So Rani and Pragya, I can see आप लोगों का हाथ आपने उठाया हुआ है. अभी नहीं, please सब mute पे रहें. End of the conversation में आप लिख लीजिए आपके questions. End of the conversation में हम आपके questions लेंगे. Okay. Thank you. So Indraani, you mentioned about your parents and you said your dad was a romantic. And what about your mom? What role did she have to play? Was she excited about her daughter going into aviation, into NCC?
So I'll go 2 generations back. I will take my grandmother. When my mother was about to be born, my grandfather left. He went missing. Nobody knew where he went.
Mm-hmm.
There was some conspiracy theory that, because of the property, the brothers did something. And the young lady, beautiful granny of mine, she, in her time, it must have been before, during the English rule, I would say. If that lady could survive that time wherein women were supposed to be having a husband by her side or a family member by her side or a father figure by her side, her father was there to help her. But in such societies, it was decided that the husband has to be by her side. When she could make it, and the same thing, instilled in my mother, hugely empowered and hugely energetic and a very independent person. So you see, I go 2 generations back. So, I mean, how can it spare me, So,
The genes.
yeah. So she passed away last year, and I think wherever she is, she's watching. But both the ladies were very strong. And Sone Mein Suhaga is my dad. Of course, I had a very healthy blend, and I think I'm blessed to have parents like that.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. And you mentioned about NCC. So which year was that? When did you start the gliding and all that?
I think 1984. 1984. So 1984, joining the NCC was just about fate. Sometimes we have in life, everything is designed for us. You are talking about Advaita Katha. I have started believing it as a kid, didn't know much about it. You yourself as a kid wouldn't have known about it. But I think everything is planned by the universe as to which direction you have to do. So let's say about 50-50. The God says, okay, 50%, I will design the program for you, but 50%, your free will. So those free will, even for the children who are present over here and the students who are here, they need to put in that 50%. And though that 50% happens when you have some aspiration, and that aspiration comes from dreams, your exposure, your mom, dad, your friends, your outside, you'll see somebody, something, something like Dr. Kalam would say, I would sit under the tree and look upstairs and see, can I go to the moon? He said, he traveled with me once and he said, can I go up to the moon? As a kid in Indraani, I would think that way. Same thing for every kid. Every child must have those kind of dreams. It's very, very important. Immaterial whether it is fulfilled or not, but the dreams are very important. And I think the similar dreams and that kind of feeling कि भाई adventure होना चाहिए life में, happiness होना चाहिए life में, it makes you go and join things, whether it could be a football, soccer, badminton, painting. I mean, I used to paint a lot, and then your craft, anything which you enjoy doing. So the process of getting into flying was having the best time of my life by going and doing and experiencing learning, seeing the world. So that was, I think, the seed of my starting, that I'm going to go and see the world. Now, how I will see the world, it's immaterial. So it started with NCC, and in NCC gave me an exposure about getting up in the morning, early morning. 5 o'clock would be the wake up. Ut karke bus, by the time 5:30, 5:40 fallen, and just get ready for running. So zara bhi 5 minute idhar udhar, double running, exercises and stuff like that. And our camp commandant would say, no delay, 5:40 means 5:40, you have to be here, please fall in. So those are the things I was exposed to, and keeping your shoes clean, your bed clean, your hair proper, your clothes clean, everything prim and proper. Even जूते भी फटे हुए होते थे, but उसको भी ठीक ठाक करके you had to go and run, Clothes, कपड़े कई बार होते थे कि हम लोगों को एक ही सेट या 2 सेट मिलते थे. But rule was that कि कपड़े गंदे नहीं हो सकते. Your clothes have to be neat and clean when in the morning when you are turning out. So हम लोग प्रेस किया करते थे, जूते पॉलिश करके कि रेडी होकर के एकदम smart turn up. So that is what NCC taught me, and I think it changed my life, looking at life, that this kind of a discipline builds your character. It is something which I feel India must have for the students, millions of students who are there. But okay, agar jiska nahi hota hai, any student who's not been able to go and do such a exposure doesn't have, that does not stop us to go and pick up some sports or pick up some hobbies and pick up something which they love doing and put all your energy into it. You never know what it is going to change into and carve out into, become something else. So that's how my NCC days were.
Yeah, I totally agree. Discipline plays a very big part. And once you learn it at a young age, it helps you. You may not even realize, but keeps building on as a good habit and always helps you achieve things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that, how it was a male dominated industry back then. Now, of course, there are a lot of female pilots, women pilots. Did you face any resistance from your seniors or your peers then, being one of the few female pilots?
I am brought up in a family of boys. So that was a plus point. I never thought I'm a girl, or I am, this is female or this is male. That kind of discrimination was not there in my family. So, you know, my thinking wasn't like that. कि ओ मैं लड़की हूँ, रोना शुरू कर दिया, मेरे साथ गलत हो गया, or I am not, oh my God, this and that, what the hell, man, don't cry. And, you know, okay, physically maybe not, I may not have been tougher than most of the boys, but I made my habits in such a way that I had, my brothers were younger than me. So there were cases wherein my brothers may be bullied in the school. So any one of them would come back and tell me the story about being bullied. That time Indraani Singh would go and beat the hell out of the students. You know, I was like that. So, ठीक है, खुद को भी चोट लगती थी.
Yeah.
But I never gave in. I had this protective thing about, you know, protecting my own family. That thing came as a natural this thing. And I never thought I am a girl. My mother would say, यार अपने आप को थोड़ा लड़कियों की तरह रखो, लड़कियां क्या करती हैं, पिक्चर में देख लो, उसमें देख लो. बट एक्सपोजर उतना टेलीविजन का उतना नहीं था, तो I did not think about it. Eventually, when you turn into teenagers and you come in your 20s, you start, the change comes into you. But before that, I was forever like that. And as a bike, as a aviator, I had a bike. After my bicycle, I went on the mobikes, and I used to drive mobikes. There was a time when I used to get, you know, फ्लाइंग क्लब में कोई बाइक पंक्चर कर देता था, कोई बोलता था अरे तुमको करने का क्या जरूरत है, शादी वादी करो जाओ. सो उसमें यही था कि आई वुड लुक एट देम और आई वुड स्लैप देम, और जैसा था, मतलब आई वाज एग्रेसिव, तो एक चाटा लगा दिया किसी को, या किसी को बोल दिया गेट लॉस्ट, या इग्नोर किया, एक कान से सुना दूसरे कान से लगा. ऑल्सो घर आके इंट्रोस्पेक्ट भी किया कि दैट आई एम सो हर्ट बैडली, दैट आई एम हर्ट, आई एम हर्ट, आई एम हर्ट, आई एम हर्ट. बट यू नो व्हाट आई सेड, फॉरगेट अबाउट इट, मूव ऑन, टुमारो इज अनदर डे. सो जाओ, सुबह उठो, फिर ताजा उठ के लड़ने के लिए तैयार. So like that, I had this attitude towards life. And I think I have an attitude, the same attitude, that has not changed. You know, I may get hurt, people saying something or whatever. But same thing I do when I get up in the morning. It's a fresh day, a new day. And today, what are we going to be doing? So I tell my kids also the same. Things will happen. It will happen. Yeah. You will fail. You will see bad things. You will see things happening which are not supposed to be with you. Some days you have to fight it. You have to fight back. Someday you have to endure it. You know, things will come to you. Follow your heart. Follow your the sense of you know, immediate sense of sixth sense, what you call it. And you know, go ahead and do the needful. जब गलत भी होगा चलेगा, because अगर गलत नहीं होगा, you will not know what is right actually. So that's how it had been.
Yeah, because you know, the minute we find somebody who's different from us and different from the usual majority, there tends to be, we somehow make it difficult for those people, and it's very important to have a strong mind and trust yourself. So I'm sure, that has once again worked for you.
Actually, strength does not come automatically. You just don't become, you're not born strong. You're not born brave. You're not born courageous. These are the habits you pick up on the way when you face hardship, failures, something going against you, which are supposed to be there. If it is not there, then you will not be able to build your character.
Yeah.
And once it is there, you face it and you deal with it. The only thing which I tell this generation or anybody, never to lose hope. Hope is the most important ingredient of life. That is there. Never lose hope.
Yeah. So when you speak of failures, Indrani, somebody would look at your life and think that, oh, she's, done this, achieved this, done that. It's probably been easy. What failures have you faced? Maybe you don't want to even, you don't look at them as failures today, but at that moment, what were the failures that come to mind today, and any thoughts about that? What did you learn from them?
Plenty, actually. बहुत सारे failures थे, बहुत mistakes किए थे. I have done, I think, to name a few is that, first of all, for getting into the airline, I had to, सब रट्टा मारा, पढ़ाई लिखाई की, understand किया, gone and understood from our mentors as to how to crack the airline exam. Everything, in fact. Sometimes when you are first generation into the airline, and the kind of an exposure wherein, I mean, the way my son has it, wherein you are knowing what is metrology and what is radio aids, and you are knowing what the coordinates mean and how you will go fly across the pole. That kind of an exposure, at least I never had. So I failed I think one of the planning plotting papers. I failed my, maybe, I don't think navigation to nahi tha, radio aids ka shayad tha, radio aids, I failed. Come back home crying, I'm a useless person. Mujhe to kuch aata hi nahi hai, Then getting into the airline also, there were 2 attempts. I was not selected. And final third attempt, I got selected. Those the airline house clerks used to see me roaming about. When is the next this selection process is going to be happening? Aaj nahi hai, kal nahi hai, bache 6 mahine baad aao, and all that. Again 3 months later, again we go back, kuch selection ka kuch aaya ki nahi aaya. So millions of people are there who are doing flying, and they are looking into aviation as a sector. They will have to go through this. It's not going to be an easy cakewalk. Something will be there. You may be able to achieve it in one shot, and something you may not be able to achieve it in another shot. I mean, you may have to struggle and have a lot of challenges. So be it medical, be it you're clearing your papers, be it in the selection in your airline, your every 6 monthly simulator, refresher. So there is an exams at every level. You may pass a few, you may not pass a few. The most important part is what we have learned from our failures. Those who have learned from their failures, I feel they have achieved more than those who have nth amount of success. And I mean, people think कि भी बहुत successful life है, The person was ace pilot, ace the papers, ace the cracked the airline, cracked every simulator, cracked the flying every aircraft. But अगर failure नहीं है तो मजा नहीं है life में. बहुत जरूरी है for character building. So what happens actually if you have failure, you know how the other side feels like. So tomorrow when you become an instructor, you're able to help the student accordingly, that where are the soft part where the student is not able to understand, or wherever you have struggled to understand something, even if you have not failed, you will be able to coach the others and tell the others ki, okay, you see, somebody will take a wrong decision and get into a weather, while the other may not may not make a mistake. So वेदर में घुसने के बाद जब पिटाई होती है वो ज्यादा जरूरी है कि एक बार घुस के देख ले कि कितनी पिटाई हुई है, और उसके बाद से आपको एक लेसन मिल जाता है कि hey, these are that kind of a weather, there's those kind of clouds, these are monsoonal weather. ये सब बहुत जरूरी है एक्सपीरियंस के लिए. So like Amit said, experiential learning, it's very important for us, and this is experiential learning.
So besides Indrani Singh, you were also called as Jaldi Rani by some people in the airlines. How did that name get tagged to you?
So like I said, airline में होने के बावजूद भी you are sort of you become a commander. So commander का position बहुत ज़्यादा tough होता है. Co-pilot मजेदार है. Co-pilot is easy, everything is hunky-dory, सारा captain के ऊपर है, सब responsibility captain के ऊपर है. So people who are first officers, they are so much in a hurry to become a captain. I tell them, man, क्यों तुम लोग इतना अपना पसीना वो कर रहे हो? Enjoy करो, अगर sector देता है captain, fly करो, enjoy करो. Enjoy the damn flying. It's not the responsibility, it is the joy of flying.
Yeah.
So I never fretted about going in for my command. Whenever it happened, I enjoyed my first officer days to the hilt. Whether it was Boeing 320 fleet, 300, I enjoyed it to the hilt. क्यों? क्योंकि responsibility नहीं थी. But जिस दिन responsibility आ गई, उसमें 12-13 बज गए. Why? Because that is the time the airline is looking at you. Hey, you're a captain. Amit will be able to tell you better that you're a captain and you are supposed to be sort of behave yourself, be a role model. Now that's a very, very tough position to be in. Everybody is looking at you when you're signing your paper. So I remember my days of first officer, and Indian Airlines olden days, I don't know, you have not seen it, so time का कोई लिहाज नहीं होता था. People were not so much कि भाई सब कुछ time पे होना चाहिए, or there was no respect for time. Some respected time, some did not respect time. So I was lucky. I had some of very good instructors in my life who believed कि time पे अगर आप हो गए तो आपका सब कुछ smoothly चलेगा. And some of the instructors, they showcased, they demonstrated. Nobody was asking me because rest of the world was like that. But some of the instructors were very good, and they demonstrated that how reaching the aircraft before time puts you on an ease, and for safety measure also you are putting things in order. Reaching there on time was very, very important, way before the cabin crew comes in or your passengers coming, and so it became a habit, and eventually then I had started having ants in my pants. I would be fidgety, impatient, like hell, man, I am here in the aircraft. Where the hell is the whole world? So I used to be after the catering. I used to be after the commercial. I used to be after my duty manager and cabin crew, everybody. Kyun yaar, jaldi, come on, get up, you know, be on the jaldi karo, aa jao. It's not that I was leaving earlier than my time, but I was more of little before time, because then I was started being called a supervisor, inspector, and eventually bullet queen or Jaldi Rani, name a few, you know, so many so many names started coming in. The lady doesn't have a patience, and we have to be there. And eventually things started settling in, and people started saying, okay, she's there, so we will come back home. We will be back home. No flight will be delayed. So it started working out. Initial days, it was to, you know, say that being on time and before time or whatever. Give me a few names. So that was that.
But eventually people like to fly with you because they knew they would reach home on time, huh?
Yeah, I've received that kind of a compliment from many passengers. And many passengers have flown with me a couple of times in rotation. And they have written to the managing director. And the managing director in turn sent the mail to me. All those days, email was not there. So those letters, I still have those letters. So I said, oh, thank God. People have started. I mean, if they have appreciated this on time, then I must be doing something right. So that's how it was. So that, I mean, when cabin crew started settling up with me, and commercials started settling with me, and passengers started settling with me, it was, it gave me an assurance that I'm on track. I'm on right path.
Yeah, sure. And you mentioned about, you know, the responsibility and the fun during as a co-pilot and then moving to command. How did you evolve? Did you feel that there was a difference in you as you grew in that role as a commander compared to when you were a young co-pilot and you?
So for newcomers, I would say, and I have gone back and thought about it, how I took as a first officer to captain days. One is immature. You are immature. You will blurt out things which are not right also. There were days that one of the flights, the captain said something to me, and I got so cheesed off, and I said, I'm going to get up, take my bag out. Sir, aapke sath ab fly nahi karna hai, bas I'm getting out. So very less sort of, I mean, they would say how immature you are. So yes, I would say the immaturity was there. I'm not saying it was not there. So if I compare myself those days to now, that how I would say, okay, I'm not going to fly with you. You have said you are talking to me like this. I'm picking my bag and I'm going. Like I said, I was kind of, you know, shooting from my hip. I would have a gun and then I would shoot first and talk later. So that's how it was. But eventually I've evolved and I've understood that the world doesn't move this way. And you got to be settling down, have more maturity when you're in the cockpit. And I see the first officers of today, they are far more mature than I was during those days. So I will give it to them that they are definitely, they are very quick. Some of them are very smart. Some of them are very vigilant. Some of them are alert and know their responsibility. So if I compare myself to them, I was naive and I was not very matured like the today's crowd is. So yeah, there is a maturity there. I will give them, but definitely I've evolved over a period of time.
Yeah. So we don't have time today to discuss about your, the initiatives for women empowerment, for literacy, but I just want to quickly mention to anybody who wants to look up and participate with Capt Indrani. It's called Literacy India, and you can look it up. That's the LI after Indrani's name showing currently as well. That's what it stands for. She's very passionate about it. Also, there is an enterprise called Indha, INDHA. Indrani, I hope I spelled it correctly. This is all sustainable products made by women. So you can log on to their website as well. You can make corporate orders as well if you want. But that piece about social initiatives and the exciting trip to the Rashtrapati Bhavan and stuff, we don't have time for today, but that will be a separate conversation. We will invite Indraani to share with us. So that's all from my side. Short of time, but there's so much more I would have loved to ask her. If any of you have any questions, please raise your hands and you can ask Indraani.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Amit, please go ahead.
It's about motivation. So you've worked with the underprivileged. You then
Amit, I think your voice is breaking. Indraani, can you hear him?
No, it's I heard him partially.
Amit, we can't hear you.
So I'll start off again. It's about motivation. So no, then I'll come in later. I'll try to switch my.
No, it's okay now. I can hear you now. Indraani, can you hear him?
Yeah.
Amit, you can go on. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Better. Should I start again?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's about motivation. Do you feel that the underprivileged are more motivated than those in the cities who have everything on a platter? And if we compare it with aviation, so what factor does motivation play in learning and particularly in aviation? How does it help, or is there some other factor which is more important?
Yes, I would say lesser you are exposed to variety of things, some exposure is required for students who are coming into aviation, but distracting yourself so much into the world wherein everybody is saying something or the other is something I feel the privileged lot gets into. They need to consolidate their thoughts. They need to, gather it together and then decide what they want to do. Aviation does not mean just getting into an airline. This is a misconception which I feel everybody has. Now the sky has opened for variety of places, like they feel that to fly the big planes is very important, like I have done. I would say starting with small planes, which is flying to Vaishno Devi side and Dehradun, and flying the industrialist, or becoming an instructor in a flying club. These are all very respectable jobs as well. So underprivileged do not have that kind of an exposure. Therefore they are kind of safe, and they pick up maybe one role model or a two role model in their lives, and from there they start going up. And it's a hard work. A lot of hard work is there for them vis-a-vis the children who are from the privileged class, because they are able to understand the subjects very well compared to underprivileged sections. So like we have in Indian Airlines from Jharkhand, the tribal community, the government of Jharkhand sponsored many tribal boys to get into aviation, and some of them flew with me as co-pilots also. I could make out that there is a vast difference in understanding aviation vis-a-vis the children who come from different public schools. So there is a definite learning differences there. But some of them actually showcased by working very hard. So end of the day, what I feel the motivation is more you get into learning by making yourself curious and not giving up hope. These are the two things helps a great deal, whether you're a privileged class or whether you're from an underprivileged class. So that keeps you going and keeps that fire inside you burning. And I think that is very, very important for us, not just the aviation, any other sector. But in order to become an aviator, please do not think, I feel the students must not think, or the budding aviators must not think that the airline is the only end deal. The sky is open has opened for numerous opportunities now, which was not there earlier. So that is what I want to tell the budding aviators. And of course, drones, the big thing, drone flying is exciting.
Yeah.
You have two hands there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katha?
Pragya, do you have a question? Please unmute yourself, Pragya, if you have a question. Okay, I think she does not.
Dhara Biswas.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening.
I have a question. In 1987, ma'am became pilot. What was the first reaction of passengers when they heard that their pilot is a woman?
Oh, yes, very good question. So what happened एक दिन ऐसा हुआ कि I landed Kathmandu in a bad weather. बहुत खराब weather था. So rest of the people, please mute yourself. Yeah. So उन्होंने cockpit नहीं देखा था. So it was a very bad weather in Kathmandu, and after landing Kathmandu, I made an announcement, and then they saw me coming out of the cockpit. So one French person, he was French, not Indian. French person said, "You flew the plane." He was so flabbergasted that he was thinking कि हो ही नहीं सकता कि भी एक woman pilot हो सकती है. I am an alien, ये alien है कोई. हो ही नहीं सकता है कि ये woman pilot. So those days the reactions were like this, when they would see a woman coming out of the cockpit. So alien समझते थे हम लोगों को.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I have one more question. Can I ask?
हाँ, please.
मैम उस टाइम पे जैसे कि आपने बोला कि लड़कियों के लिए ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी नहीं थी, और मतलब कि उस टाइम पे नहीं थे लड़कियां पायलट, तो आपने ऐसा कैसे सोच लिया कि मैं एक सॉरी मैम, आपने ऐसा क्यों सोचा कि मैं एक पायलट बन सकती हूँ?
मैंने ये नहीं सोचा कि मैं लड़की हूँ. मैंने बताया ना शुरू में कि मैंने कभी भी नहीं सोचा कि मैं लड़की हूँ इसीलिए मुझे पायलट बनने का अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलेगा. मैंने ये सोचा मुझे मिलेगा. लड़का लड़की मैंने सोचा ही नहीं, कभी ये सोचा ही नहीं. सो आप अगर आपको कल को एस्ट्रोनॉट बनना है तो आप ये मत सोचिए कि मैं इंडियन हूं तो मैं एस्ट्रोनॉट नहीं बन सकती हूँ, या मैं लड़की हूं तो एस्ट्रोनॉट नहीं बन सकती हूँ. आप कुछ भी बन सकते हैं, बस आप ये मत सोचिए लड़का और लड़की. वो बाहर के लोग आके बोलते हैं आपको कि भाई आप लड़के हो या लड़की हो, आप तो ये कर नहीं सकते हो, या लड़के जो हैं आजकल इतना अच्छा खाना बनाते हैं, या लड़के इतना अच्छा हेयर कट कर लेते हैं, तो ये तो लड़कियों का काम है. So there is, we don't need to differentiate that you're a girl or a boy. Just say कि I will be able to do it. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dhara. Anusmrita, you have some question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, so when you were talking about failures kind of in general, you talked about how, you tried twice or thrice to get into an airline, and you did fail a couple of times. How did you kind of keep that motivation alive, that this is where I really want to be and I'm going to keep trying until I get there? How did you know that this is where I need to be and that I'm going to keep trying however long it takes?
So sometimes what happens, everything is okay, you're medically fit, okay? And you know exactly where is your weak area. Ego aside, and any kind of a pride aside, it does get hurt. You feel very hurt. But if you know your weakness, and if you can work on your weakness, I think then there is, you have to, like you must have heard about the story of that there was a very good story. I don't recall, we'll come back to it. But if you go on trying, there is no way that you will be able to, you'll not succeed. So I knew my weak areas, I worked on it. Like in an interview, I was not able to talk. I'm able to talk right now so freely, but olden days, oh my God, my throat used to get very dry. You're able to speak so well, but I'm not, in my time, I was not able to speak also. So there were group discussions, there were interviews. So if I cleared my written, so there only they will catch me. Oh, this girl doesn't have a confidence. She can't even participate in a group discussion. So these are the areas I worked on, and there were, like Advaita Katha says, the universe works in a mysterious way. If you have that intent in you, it will work out for you. And if it doesn't work out for you, something else will open up for you as something greater. As long as you keep up that hope, which is very, very important. And as a experiencing in 33 years of my career, in not just hanging there, but doing some important and critical flights also, single engine, bird hit, bomb on board, just short of being hijacked, tough weather. I take pride in landing tough weather, crosswind, gusty, and weather's approaching fast. These are the time wherein your skill is being tested and you are able to do a good job without anybody telling you, you've done a good job. So you feel, yeah, I was cut out for being an aviator. I was cut out for being a pilot. So then, of course, your people tell you, oh, I heard so much about you. Oh, I wanted to fly with you. So I must have done something right, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, and I think she mentioned also about keeping hope alive always, and I guess Indraani just believes. So that's what takes her through more than she doesn't believe. So that powers her through, I think. Thanks. Sana, you have a question?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
I want to ask that what was your first impression when you heard that you are Asia's first woman pilot?
Good question. I don't know. Nobody taught me as to how I should react. So I had no idea how to react, whether I say yeah or I say So I had no idea as to how to react. So old man said, my father would say, keep yourself grounded. ठीक है, आप हवा में उड़ रही हैं, लेकिन पांव जमीन पे होने चाहिए. So keep yourself, grounded. So that's what it was. So if somebody said, I will go hide myself and smile, and feel like that. But don't let anybody see, what I felt. Kept my excitement under control.
Did someone told you that you are the Asia's first woman, or you already knew that?
No, this came out through the airline and Airbus industry and others. So that's
Were
how
you
I got to.
shocked?
Sorry?
Were you shocked after
No.
hearing this?
No, not shocked, pleasantly surprised.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sana, आप क्या करने वाले हो जब आपका नाम आने वाला है as first what?
Young Prime Minister.
Are wonderful.
That's really good.
Wonderful.
That's really good.
Okay. Amit, you have a question?
Yeah, ma'am, I have question.
Please ask. This will be our last question, guys. So, Amit, yeah, पूछिए आप.
मैम, आपको जब 2 बार सेलेक्ट नहीं किया गया था, तब आप क्या रीजन था मैम आपको सेलेक्ट नहीं किया गया था, और तीसरी बार आपको सेलेक्ट किया गया था, तो मैम उसका रीजन क्या था?
जैसे आप कॉन्फिडेंटली बोल पा रहे हो ना, मैं बोल नहीं पाती थी. तो हमारे को इंटरव्यू में जब इंटरव्यू होता था तो गला सूख जाता था. तो इंटरव्यू में सेलेक्ट नहीं किया क्योंकि मेरा गला सूख गया. रिटन पास कर गए लेकिन इंटरव्यू में बोल नहीं पाए. सो आप में से कई ऐसे स्टूडेंट हैं जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, जो इंटरव्यू क्रैक नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, और लिटरेसी इंडिया उन लोगों को हेल्प कर रही है कि इंटरव्यू में कॉन्फिडेंटली कैसे बोलना चाहिए. सो वही सेम चीज मेरे साथ भी हुई है. इंटरव्यू में बोलना नहीं आता था, या ग्रुप डिस्कशन में कॉन्फिडेंटली किसी चीज को डिस्कस करना नहीं आता था. सो दीज वर द थिंग्स व्हिच एक्चुअली अफेक्टेड माय सिलेक्शन. बट इवेंचुअली धक्का खा खा के हम सीख गए, बिकॉज धक्का नहीं खाएंगे तो किसी कहेंगे कैसे, बताओ. दैट वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
Thank you. And Amit, like Indraani ने बोला जैसे पहले, ये जानना जरूरी है और मानना खुद के लिए जरूरी है कि मेरी वीकनेस क्या है, क्या वजह है जिसकी वजह से मैं सिलेक्शन नहीं हो पा रहा है. अदरवाइज दूसरे को ही ब्लेम करते रह जाएंगे शायद. So thank you so much, Indraani. It was a wonderful conversation, and we would definitely be asking you to be our guest one more time.
Oh, really?
Next time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And thank you everybody who took out time today and joined us. Lots of love, and thank you with a lot of humility. Thank you so much. Thanks, Amit. Captain Iqbal Dhingra, I know he's there somewhere. Thank you so much for joining in and supporting us. And thank you everybody. Thanks, Indraani.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.